2 weeks before the video, they told them that they're going to be released, and they give them food so they will look better. You probably remember the video of Evyatar David, that he looked like a skeleton. Guy looked exactly the same as Evyatar. And that was the second time they intentionally starved them to make them a presenter of starvation. There was one terrorist that were guarding them, and he could come to them and tell me that you love me. And when they told him, we love you, he used to beat them like really, really bad. He used to do degrading things to them, spraying anti-cockroach spray on their food. They ate the food.
They ate the food after he'd sprayed it.
They didn't have any option.
I'm honored and delighted to be joined here by none other than Gal Gilboa-Dalal, the older brother of Guy Gilboa-Dalal. Guy Gilboa-Dalal was snatched from us on October 7th, 2023 from the Nova Festival, and he was just returned along with 19 other living hostages to his family, to his home, to his land, and to his people. Gal Gilboa-Dalal, it's a real honor to have you here. You are the older brother of Guy Gilboa-Dalal. Guy Gilboa-Dalal, of course, was taken from us, from you, from your family, on that dreadful day on October 7th, 2023. And he was captured in a video alongside others who were taken. Included in that video from within his captivity was Evyatar David, childhood friend with whom he grew up. And Evyatar David and Guy Gilboa-Dalal, for a significant portion of this time, were kept in captivity together. They were also filmed, many people will remember, undergoing the worst psychological torment and torture that I think is imaginable. And today, for the first time, we meet with the wonderful news that your dear brother, Guy, is home. He's in hospital at this time, recuperating and rehabilitating, but he is home in the land of Israel among his people, together with Evyatar, and he is safe, he is alive, and he's getting better each and every day. And I just want to begin by asking you, how's he doing? Tell me how Guy is.
So I would say that, I'm thanking you, but I also thanking all of our nation, all Jewish people everywhere that were so supportive in all this time. We could feel the love, and it fueled our hearts to keep fighting for Guy. You could see on Guy, from the moment he returned, how thankful he is. He just had to thank everyone he saw, all the soldiers, all the medical team, and he gave us so much moments of joy and happy, seeing him slowly recovered. And looking at him, it's also, you can understand that he still have a long way ahead of him. I remind you that Guy and Evyatar and the other hostages, but I know Guy and Evyatar stories. Most of the time they were kept in a small tunnel with the same light, no daylight at all. They were almost unable to move because it was so small. And it took not just a mental toll, about also a physical one.
So they're being moved around at various periods from, is it house to house? I remember we interviewed Almog Meir Jan, who came back in Mivtza Arnon, in the rescue operation that rescued him and Noah Gamani and a couple of others.
Exactly. So they stayed with other families. And that's interesting that you mentioned Noah, because they stayed in this kind of apartments until Noah Gamani was rescued, along Almog Jan and a few other hostages. And when they rescued them, Hamas decided to move all the hostages to the underground tunnels. So that's when they took them down to the tunnels. Guy, Evyatar, and Tal Shoam, they were taken together to the tunnel that Omer Vankrat was staying in. That was, I think, around 200 days after they were kidnapped. And from that time until the video that we all saw, that they take Guy and Evyatar to see Omer Vankrat and the other hostages being released to the cynical ceremony, I remind you that they took Guy and Evyatar not just to watch them release, but also to beg for their lives, to say propaganda words of Hamas, and then they were taken back to the tunnels. And that was the first time they experienced daylight.
After being in captivity for a long time,
I think like
they
about
were driven to do that.
10 or 11 months that they were underground.
Did they know that they were going to be driven back, or had Hamas told them that they were being driven to be released? Do you know?
So 2 weeks before the video, they told them that they're going to be released, and they give them food so they will look better. One thing that really was very disturbing to hear is that you probably remember the video of Evyatar David, that he looked like a skeleton.
Yes, I do.
Exactly. So Guy was him at that moment of the video, and Guy looked exactly the same as Evyatar. And that was the second time they intentionally starved them to make them a presenter of starvation. But it was intentionally, and they told us that the terrorists that gave them food, they ate very well, they were fat. And now at the video that they took Guy and Evyatar to see the other hostages being released, it was after they fed them, made them look fatter, but it was also like you saw Evyatar, so they kept playing with their
weight,
with the
their
weight,
body mass, right?
Exactly, and that's something that right now it will take them a while to recover from. You know, Guy wants to eat. You saw the video of him eating a chocolate ball.
Yeah.
If the one thing he missed, almost like music, is food. But he is unable to eat as he wants to.
He's not yet.
No, he has a lot of stomach, and when he eats too much, he needs to puke or go to the toilet. And at the first couple of nights, he couldn't sleep from pain. Also, because of the way they were kept. They have problems with their muscles and with their bones. A lot of physical pain to be recovered from.
And then we saw a third video that was more recent, just a couple of months ago, that I think everyone will remember, where Evyatar David is emaciated. You can see all the bones in his clavicle. You can see the bones on his hips, his shoulders. And he's actually told, it seems that he's been told to dig his own grave inside this tunnel. And that was a shocking video as well. But our thoughts, and you've just cleared this up, were, where is Guy? Why is Guy not in that video as well? So you're saying that because we understood that they were being held together. So Guy was there when that video was filmed, is that right?
That's right.
And he was in the same
together.
And he was in the same condition.
Yeah, they was in the same condition. I asked him about it, and he said, me and Evyatar look the same. I think that they want to make another video with Guy. They did took another video with Guy, but they didn't publish it because the world saw the hand that gave Evyatar the food. That was Hamas' mistake. And then you could see the hand that gives Evyatar food
was healthy,
3-4 times bigger than Evyatar's hands.
Yeah, it was normal size forearm and hands that you would see, far from emaciated.
So Guy told me about the hand that we saw in the video. He said,
that's when the Hamas terrorist is passing him water, I think, right, or food. I can't remember.
A can of bean, I think.
That's right, a can of beans. Yeah.
And Guy said that this guy was one of the most biggest men he ever saw. He was not just fat, but also very big in his dimensions. So you imagine how much this kind of men need to eat to look that way. And he told me another disturbing thing. He told me that most times they used to have feasts right in front of their eyes, eating very well. And then the leftovers of the rice, they would put aside until it would be rotten. And only then they would give it to them. And they would make them to count the rice corn to make sure no one received more, because it was so small rations. So they were always starved. Most time they were eating rotten food, and they knew that there is food and that it's being done to them intentionally.
So all of these lies about there not being any food inside the Gaza Strip, about there not being any aid going into Gaza, that's precisely what they were. It's just lies.
100% of the hostages would tell you, all the people that they saw that kept them, they just ate well. They never saw that they are missing anything. So I think that's the answer to the question. And every time he tells something, our heart breaks. It's like even with everything we knew, we couldn't imagine it would be that bad. There are some things that we can't tell.
Is there an example of something you can tell? I don't want you to say anything you can't, but is there something that really jolted you that he said, if you're comfortable saying it?
Look, we talked about the starvation and psychological torture and the physical torture, and they had to go to endure. I can tell more about this because there are countless stories. Think about being made to go through it every day, every second. The story just doesn't end. But I just say that it just gets harder and harder to hear about it, because we had to convince ourselves sometimes that maybe it's not that bad all the time. But even in our worst nightmare, we couldn't think about that, how bad it is.
So when Guy was there, how much did he know, if you know, how much did he know about what was going on, the campaign that your family and other families were running, the military operation, the policy of the Israeli government, the dual policy of ending Hamas's reign, ending the threat from Hamas, and also bringing home all of the hostages? The intensification of the war sometimes, and then the toning down of the war. How much did he know about what was going on, and from where did he get that information, if he did?
So that's a great question, because one of the psychological torture that Hamas have made them through is lie to them constantly and make sure they're not they don't have any way to connect to the other world. Like they don't see any press or anything, and if they see anything, it's Al Jazeera. But they just saw a little bit of Al Jazeera at the beginning. The terrorists used to tell them, and Guy especially, your mother don't fight for you, your father don't fight for you, no one in your family fights for you. Your brother was murdered at the Nova Music Festival. That's what they told him. So Guy didn't know that I was alive until very lately. He still gripped onto the hope that I may have survived, but he couldn't be sure. And the terrorists told him that by the name I was murdered, and they used to laugh on him about that. And Guy used to tell this story that in his head, that's what one of the hostages returned. He said to us that Guy said that his parents very busy with work, so probably they don't go to the rallies, but they do what they can. But when he returned, he told us that he just said it to the terrorists, so they leave him alone. But what he thought actually is that I was murdered at the Nova Music Festival, and my mother took it so bad that none of us returned. And he thought that my mother had a heart attack and died, or she killed someone and she is in prison. That's what he actually thought.
He thought that one, he was in captivity.
Yeah, until around the date of the video that Guy and Evyatar was taken out of the tunnels to see the other hostages being released. That's when the Guy saw a picture of me, holding a picture of him. That was the first time he got a proof of life from me. And that's when he realized I'm alive. And he told me that when he realized I'm alive, he instantly knew that his family doing everything they can for him and fight for him, and it gave him a tremendous hope and strength.
Yeah.
And that was so emotional.
All that time from October 7th until he was driven out to watch that ceremony, he thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He didn't even know anything about what's going on here. He just knew what the terrorists tell him. And they told him that IDF is looking for him to kill him, because that's what the prime minister wants, because then he will
end the war. And
exactly. He's not going to be a card in their hands. That's what they actually thought. And he told me also that he was in places that were near soldiers, and he was afraid to try and run to them because
of that incident.
Because he really believed they are looking to kill the hostages.
So they convinced him that essentially there was almost a hostage hunting squad of the IDF that was put forward to eliminate the hostages as collateral for Hamas.
Exactly.
And he believed that. Did Evyatar also believe it? Do you know?
They believe that, but not in 100%, not in their whole heart. Like, Guy said another interesting thing. He said that after he saw the picture of me and he realized that I'm alive, And that's when he understands that everything they say is a lie. That's when he stopped to believe anything they're saying to him. That was a turning point. He also said that when the other hostages were released, Tal and Omer, that were with Guy and Evyatar, that was when the hardest time in captivity began.
What did that look like when they would the terrorists would respond to what was going on outside by applying their anger and their rage and taking that out on the hostages? What sort of things were they going through?
So when they thought it was going to be a deal, and when there were discussion about deals, the hostages were getting more food. They were beaten less or not at all. So they won't have any bruise.
Sorry to interrupt you, but how frequent were these beatings?
It's depend on their mood.
Really?
Yeah, one day they can beat you and laugh, and one day, like, that's hysterical, actually. There was one terrorist that were guarding them, I can tell it now, that was a little bit psychotic. And he could come to them and tell them, I love you, you are truly my friends, tell me that you love me. And when they told him, we love you, he used to beat them, like, really, really bad. It's like, and then he told them that, now tell me you love me again. And when they told him, we still love you, we still love you, he said, that was a test. I was testing you to see if you'd still love me. And he used to do these kind of things often. He used to do degrading things to them, spraying anti-cockroach spray on their food, on their where they slept, like really, really bad things.
Would they be compelled to eat the food afterwards? Were they made to eat that, or was it just to sort of destroy it so that it wasn't edible for them?
They ate the food.
They ate the food after he'd sprayed it.
They didn't have any
option.
Any option.
Yeah.
Think that sometimes they used to leave them for 48 hours and don't give them any food at all. 48 hours. After it happened a few times, they used to keep half of the food they receive for just in case that they won't get any food in 24 hours. So very, very small ration of rotten rice they put aside to eat the next day.
So with everything that he was going through there, how did he sustain himself? How did he get through that? What were the thoughts that kept him going? Did he pray? Does he not pray? What is sustaining this young man? How's he getting through this?
Well, he said one thing that was so moved to hear. He told us that, of course, he has the greatest family, and because of us, he was able to stay strong. But he said it also in other words that were very, very emotional. He said that he used to imagine that he is in a reality show, and his family are the only one who sees it, and that we are all watching him. And in order for us to stay strong and not to break, he also have to stay strong and not to break. And that's one thing that he used to play in his head to make himself stronger. And that's just like thinking about how real it was for him. It's just crazy.
What was the personality that was taken away from Az on October the 7th?
When Guy returned, the first thing he told my mother, he told her, I'm not the same man I was before. I'm a different man now, but I'm the strongest man I know. He is a different man now. He still have a long journey to recover, but he kept himself. He's still Guy. He's still my brother. It's still hard because sometimes you see that what he have to go through will stay with him, and probably forever. But the feeling that now we can do everything together, and now we have time, and it's not so urgent to heal now or to bring him now because he can die any moment.
Right.
No, we're together now, and we have the time to really go through this healing journey together. And that's, with the support of everyone that care so much about him, and he will see it. He just come to realize how many people care about him and wants to see him in a good shape again. To see him as who he is again, and they would help him. And then I'm sure that little by little, step by step, we will get there.
Listen, if I, God forbid, found myself in a crisis, an existential crisis, as I said to Eli David, I say to you, I would want an older brother like you, pushing and driving and never for a moment giving up. And essentially completely subjugating your own identity in order to be the brother of Guy Gilboa-Dalal. That's who you've been for the last 2 years. And I would encourage you to gradually in time rediscover your identity, rediscover what it is you want to tell people and tell them, because you've been touched by circumstance. And I don't think that that is to be now discarded. It was a dreadful circumstance, but out of it came many, many incredible aspects of who you are. True heroism. Everybody admires what you've done, and it'll never be forgotten. So
it's hard for me to get a compliment, but when it comes from you, I would take it.
Thanks a lot. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. And Mazal Tov, and may you and your family only know peace and happiness, and may Guy come to his full strength and height very, very swiftly.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, my man. Got you. Thanks a lot.